But this is what we're sitting on right now. Welcome back to Mr. Black's State of the Union. I'm going to try and keep this under 5 minutes. Quick little update on the blown up Corvette. Spent about an hour or two anyways today. 3 cans of brake cleaner and a full bottle of isopropyl, cleaning up all the oil and aluminum chips. Got the cradle all cleaned up and the frame rails all cleaned up. Got the tunnel all cleaned up. The floor of the car all cleaned up. When I say the floor, I'm talking about the underside. There was oil dripping off of everything. Got the garage floor cleaned up so you can actually get down there and not get covered in oil and metal. We are still to this day finding pieces of piston around the house. Like literally, I found a piece of piston inside the house the other day. There's a piece right there even. Other than that, the car fared okay. I've actually got a couple of holes in my cradle. I don't know if you can see them real well, but that is literally damage from each connecting rod swinging into the cradle. But after looking at it a little bit more closely, those holes are I literally drilled those holes to cut out the damage in the cradle, and all the webbing underneath the cradle is completely intact and not cracked. So I have no doubts that that cradle will be fine. It's just ugly, but you can't see it when the car's put together because the oil pan literally lays on top of that cradle within a 1/4 inch. So I think at the end of this video I'll put in a little bit of a montage of the damage, what the block looked like, what broke on the block, what the blower looked like. It was a lot of damage. The collateral damage was super bad. So we had originally found a LQ4 that we were going to build for this car, but it needs a fair amount of machine work for this caliber of build. So after talking to several machine shops, we kind of put that block on the back burner because I may not have been driving the car until this fall if I had waited to get that block done. Tell your kids out there, if you want them to have some long-term, lifelong work, get into machine work, open a machine shop, because that kind of stuff's dying off. I don't think that's what y'all are here for, though. I think what everybody's really here for is probably this right here. So I got in contact with a shop in Louisiana, AMS Racing. They seem to have excellent reviews, and their turnaround time was one of the quickest out there that I could find. It is an all forged 408. Here's the build sheet on it. Nothing super secret. It's all forged, like I said. Eagle crank, 4-inch stroke, forged H-beam rods. They've got the bearing clearances listed. 24 tooth reluctor wheel. We went with a Molly forged piston and rings. They set the ring gaps. Rings set for 20 psi of boost max. I don't think this car will ever see that, especially with this small blower on it. And the drivetrain couldn't handle it anyways. That would be a whole nother level. But this is what we're sitting on right now. I think they did a very nice job from what I can tell. Everything looked fine on the bottom end. I'll put a couple of still pictures of the bottom end opened up. So you can see what that looks like. These are the Molly dish pistons. They're kind of funky looking. They almost look kind of like a diesel piston to me, but I guess they're pretty damn stout pistons. Forged, of course. Trusty old LS7 lifters. And then one of the biggest other changes that we're going to be making is going to 823 heads. I was open for 821s, 823s, didn't matter to me. Turned out to be it was a lot harder to find a pair of these than I thought it was going to be. Most of what I found either was caked in dirt, grease, filth, oil, sludge, or looked like they'd been in the bottom of the ocean. So I found it was easier to just source a set from a machine shop, and got them for a decent price. I think they were like 900 shipped. And I went through, I changed the springs, and I went through and kind of felt all the guides. Everything seems like it's really nice. Looked at their valve seats, they looked really nice. So I think these heads are going to be just fine. The reason for switching to a 823 or 821 head is I needed to go to square port or rectangle port. I wanted to absolutely do away with the adapter plates for the LSA supercharger, and obviously the LSA blower was intended to be on square ports. That's where its home is. So we got that squared away. I sold off a lot of that other stuff. I'm actually dumbing this engine down in the sense that I took off my CTSV PCV valley cover, and this I just went to the old there's no PCV involved in this valley cover, but we still have the knock sensor ports. Reason why I did that is I'm running a Mighty Mouse Solutions wild catch can setup, and so when you're running that setup, if you have the port right here on the valley cover, it ends up getting blocked off anyways, so that's gone. All new gaskets, of course. I did center this up with the balancer. That's a long story. Got the revised rear cover that comes complete with new bolts, gasket, main seal, the special plastic guide so that you can plop this thing on over the crank without dicking the seal up. And I was able to get a new oil pan from my buddy Ron down in Oregon. I'm not positive, but I think this might be out of his own C5. Thanks to him for graciously donating that to the cause, because that was a huge help in the budget. And went through all that, got it cleaned up. I'll have a video coming up on how I set up the windage tray, because that took a little bit of finagling too. Low oil level sensor is in good shape. I went through, like I said, cleaned out this oil pan real good, made sure everything was happy, and we got our sensors back in. I've had a couple of people comment in some still pictures on the forums, how come I still have this old crusty oil pressure sensor in there? And I'm like, well, quite simply, it just works and it don't leak, and I trust it. This one's not made in China, so I'm gonna run her till she blows. The way this car is configured and the way my cowl is notched for the blower, I can change that sensor in seconds. But yeah, pretty excited. Oh, another big change. I did drill this for the LS2 standard timing chain damper. I got LS2 timing chain in there, and I did change the cam. This is the old cam. Old cam was BTR2NA. Had about 4 or 5 degrees of overlap, which isn't ideal for boost. And quite honestly, it also makes your idle tuning just a bit of a pain in the ass. So we're going to be making the switch to what has become pretty popular. This is the Summit Ghost Cam. It's got decent numbers, makes great power, NA or boosted. This is minus 2 degrees of overlap. I somehow managed to score an authentic set of ARP head studs off of eBay for $200. I think they're around $350 to buy them. Even that's when you can find them in stock. So those will be going on. So yeah, that'll be studded. Be using the 7-layer BTR LS9 head gaskets. And if some dumbass wouldn't have cracked the hub on the balancer, I got a little overzealous when I was putting this guy in and I didn't have enough clearance on the key. These forged crankshafts are keyed. They have a keyway cut for the balancer, so it's a different form of pinning it basically. I got in a hurry and I wasn't being careful enough, and I had the key that I have tapped into this crank was a little bit too tall and maybe even a little bit too wide, and I tried forcing it on there. That was a stupid idea. So I gotta call Innovators West in the morning and see if I can get another hub. This hub is separate, it's replaceable for that guy. So that was my own mistake. If I wouldn't have done that, there's a good chance this engine would have been in the car this weekend. But that's pretty much the state of the union. I've probably rambled on for almost 5 minutes already. People get bored as hell of that stuff. It's my rebuilt blower. Thank you to Supercharged Online. Brand new rotor pack in it. And a new intercooler brick from Vengeance Racing that is already got the reinforcement done to it, like this one. That's why that's getting replaced. Some of the tubes got dicked up. It's like somebody shot that intercooler brick with a double-aught buck out of a shotgun. So, little glimpse into my current world. Stay tuned for some more videos. Hopefully this car will be running again and within about 2 weeks. And 408 cubic inches of goodness, with somewheres, I'm assuming the boost will probably still be somewheres around 11 or 12 pounds. It could still be 13 even, because we're getting rid of that overlap in the cam. So should be good times. Like I said, stay tuned for the adventure and enjoy some of the carnage pictures that I'm going to attach right now. We'll see you on the next one.